So I'm going to read from a story from the collection. It's called A Reasonable Person. Is the sound okay? Is the sound okay? Okay. A Reasonable Person. With almost 2 hours to spare until the Hongxing Plastics anniversary dinner, and with the hotel crawling with sweaty executives and managers, they're everywhere. The lobby, the bar, elevators, corridors. The young couple in 501 decide to hide in their room until they're required to join the others in the grand ballroom. They make use of the time. They strip down to their underwear and watch the first half of a TV documentary on pandas, make love, and play 8 rounds of gin rummy. She carries a deck of cards with her whenever they travel. The husband, feeling badly about attending his company dinner on their 1-year anniversary, deliberately loses the last 5 games. He does his punishment of 10 push-ups, the last 5 with a hand behind his back. She applauds and he gives a theatrical bow and retreats to the bathroom where he starts running a shower. When her husband emerges from the bathroom, she says, "How was your shower?" And he says, "Too wet," and she laughs. She changes into one of the dresses she has brought on this trip and smooths down the sides as she turns left and right in the mirror. She straightens her husband's tie and they go down to the ballroom where most people have already found their seats. A speech, some awards, a slide presentation on the new factory site. The president feigns disappointment that the dinnerware is not made of plastic, a joke he's apparently made at all of the previous anniversary dinners. Food, alcohol, dancing. Tired from wine and small talk, she excuses herself at an acceptable hour and stumbles up to the room where she falls into a restless sleep. Sometime later, her husband comes in, warm and heavy from brandy. Under the dark moonlit chandelier, they work to ignore the sticky heat, trying different ways to be together so that no gaps are left unclosed. The room is high-ceilinged with a paradise mural whose curling vines lurk and spread like shadows across the walls. The sparkling, constant purr of cicadas pours in from a nearby field. The two of them pull closer in the half-dark. The bed feels so large it makes her think of a raft floating on a lake. For several hours she dreams of nothing, then apples. Later, in the dark, she awakes feeling thirsty and a little hungry. She thinks of the kettle somewhere in the room and fruit in a basket that had been left on the side table. Instead of getting up straight away, she decides to lie there for a moment as she watches the moonlight and vines and shadows swimming around the room, the chandelier above them shimmering quiet. She thinks, "This is what it means to be happy. I am happy." Before her husband, she'd never been on a plane, never stayed in a hotel. In fact, she used to clean rooms like this with her mother. She wonders why she feels this obligation to cherish the moment. And she knows it is because she imagines that, like all good things, it might not last. This takes away a little of her happiness. And she's still thirsty, thirstier than before. She's thirstier than she is happy. And this doesn't seem right to her. She's lying very close to her husband, his skin warm and breathing. Should I bring this up? Okay. She wants very much to pull him closer and wrap her arms around his chest and squeeze him, but she's afraid to wake him. For a while, she does nothing except observe the tiny, cool gaps where their bodies can meet. But the longer she observes, the more gaps she finds and the more unhappy she becomes. By this time, she finds that she's more unhappy than she's happy. But as long as she is thirstier than she is unhappy, things might still be all right. She decides she should stop thinking about the gaps where she and her husband cannot meet and try instead to relax and observe the moonlight, the swimming shadows, the way they reached for each other in the night, the chandelier shimmering silently above them. The room passes into darkness. Then the moon returns, and the chandelier crystals catch the light and swallow it whole. One crystal, hanging on the outer edge, mesmerizes her. When she tilts her head a little in one direction, the crystal throws out a sharp, alarming light. Another way, and it slips into dark. Another way, and she sees the extraordinary light trapped inside, cool, glowing, pulsing. Slowly she peels her arm from under her husband's, feeling moist stickiness and then a light cooling on her skin. Blood rushes back into her limb. He turns away, taking some of the sheet with him. She slips out from under the covers, tiptoes to the foot of the bed and stands under the chandelier. Her hands find the hard back of a chair and she pulls it towards her and climbs onto it. It wobbles a little under her. She stands up slowly and then, with careful fingers, reaches up for her crystal, unhooking it and bringing it to her chest. It is bumpy and cool. She opens her palm and stares at the dark thing. Then she looks up and sees that there are many more, all still glowing. She reaches up again, toward the middle this time, and plucks out a smaller one, and then another, until they almost spill from her hand and chest, and there is nothing left to do but stand there, slightly elated, cradling her bounty. The pieces of blunt, warm glass begin sticking to her skin. She imagines herself then, naked on a badly made chair, dismembering a chandelier, and her skin starts to tingle with shame. Slowly she climbs down. She takes the chandelier pieces and lays them on the carpet under the bed. Then she sits in the chair with her hands in her lap and thinks about how, compared to when she first awoke, she probably doesn't have that much happiness left. And her body hasn't forgotten. She's still thirsty, thirstier than before. She wants water so badly. Surely it's all right to want that. She can go to the kettle and pour herself a glass, but she notices that even now her thirst is still greater than her unhappiness, and so as long as this is true, she might be okay. When her husband does finally stir, the room is bright with morning. His face is pale, squashed from sleep, his features soft and blurred. He yawns and sees her sitting in the chair and says, "What are you doing over there, May?" His hair is sticking up at the back like a duckling's tail. He looks somehow younger. There's a question in his eyes, almost helpless or expecting, as if he knows she's been leading a secret life and is waiting for a confession. And she replies, "Nothing. I just got up. Want some coffee?" She goes over to him and kisses him on the forehead. While he's in the shower, she drinks 5 glasses of water, and after that she gathers up the chandelier pieces, gets back on the chair, and one by one hooks them back into place. All except for one. Later that morning, sitting next to her husband on the flight back to Hong Kong, she drinks an orange juice and clutches her head during the descent. She reaches into her pocket and squeezes the crystal, digging its edges into her flesh. She thinks of an apple being slowly peeled, and then she thinks of bolts of silk spilling out with quick drama. She tells herself that somehow it will happen. It must happen. A time when she'll be able to tell someone everything and not want or fear anything. Thank you so much. That's the story. And this is the book.